Good morning, Malta and Gozo, and welcome to another episode of Lovin Daily. I hope you're all having a good Friday. I'm Julian Bonici. Joined with me today is Yannick Parch. We've got some really interesting stories for you today. Our first story is all about how drone delivery between Malta and Gozo is becoming a reality. The second is all about COVID-19 and some really positive numbers with the number of people in hospital dropping to zero. Then we move on to a Valletta deputy mayor calling for criminal action over a plant protest. The next story is all about donkey voting ahead of Malta's general election, with a PR candidate changing their surname ahead of it. And our last story is all about the Euro 2020 sponsorship debate going on at the moment, with MFA weighing in on the issue. That's not what we have for you today. We also have Dursa Mama Kadu. We're going to have an interview. He's from Spark 15, which is an NGO that brings a youth-focused approach to the refugee issue in Malta and abroad. Yannick, our first story.
Our first story. Well, delivering packages between Malta and Gozo is about to get a lot easier, it seems, with a new drone delivery service which is set to launch this week. The new cargo drone service aims to provide fast delivery between the two islands using an unmanned aerial vehicle or a drone, which can carry a payload of up to 10 kilograms. The drone can be used from everything from urgent cargo deliveries to documents, medical supplies, you name it. The project is a brainchild of three companies: Hands-On Systems, Coero and Phoenix Wings. A number of trial flights were carried out this week between Malta and Comino, and all were successful, paving the way for the launch of the service. For the time being, it's only going to be available to third-party delivery companies. But it is hoped that this will be the first step in the service becoming more widespread.
Yeah, no, really, actually, quite cool. Like, a little bit of a snapshot into the future, right? About what could happen. We've already seen it abroad, right? With Amazon sort of exploring these things. Now, call me a Luddite and a bit of a technophobe, right? Whatever, but I don't know, once I start seeing this, I start picturing, 50 years time, like the traffic we have down here suddenly being replicated in the skies above us. So
at least we get to work on time.
at least we get to work on time. On to our next story, some really positive news on the COVID-19 front, with yesterday Deputy Prime Minister announcing how there were no more hospitalized patients with the virus. Yesterday was also yet another day where Malta recorded 0 cases, with active cases now dropping to just 33. It wasn't all positive though. Yesterday there was some tragic news with an 82-year-old man who had actually contracted the virus, gotten the vaccine, and then contracted the virus again and died because of it. So just a little small reminder, that vaccination doesn't mean a cure, and just a helpful reminder for why we still need to stay somewhat vigilant. On the whole, the vaccine campaign has been actually really positive, right, in Malta. As of yesterday, about 62% of the total population are fully vaccinated, and about 80% have received a single dose. So everything's moving in a really positive direction. Obviously, I think the Deputy Prime Minister is going to have a lot on his plate, right, over the next few weeks, because people are going to continuously call for the reopening of certain events, relifting of certain restrictions, particularly when they start to see the numbers going down. So a really tough few weeks ahead for Chris Fern.
I mean, I think the emphasis will be on communication, because at the end of the day, I think most people, while everyone's tired, people do understand that caution is still required, but the decisions need to be communicated very clearly so people understand why they are being asked to do something. On to our next story. It's about Valletta Deputy Mayor Rea Azzopardi, who has called for criminal action to be taken against activists who left placards and plant pots outside of Parliament recently. The messages were left by members of Occupy Justice, the activist group, as a protest against government corruption. The mini protest was described as an act of vandalism by Valletta Cultural Agency Chairman Jason McAuliffe. McAuliffe is no stranger to controversy, often voicing controversial opinions on civil society groups and their actions. Taking cue from McAuliffe, Azzopardi uploaded a Facebook post in which he described the group's actions as disgraceful. Azzopardi called for criminal action to be taken, in fact. He insisted that these things don't happen in a civilized and fully democratic country. except they kind of do. They actually happen in most civilized countries where people have a right to express themselves. What is quite rare in civilized countries is actually public officials calling for criminal actions against activists for a relatively innocuous protest.
Yeah, nothing screams democracy, right, than calling for the criminalization of activists and protests. I think both the deputy mayor and the head of Valletta's, let's inverted commas, cultural agency need to start to realize, right, what happened in the past, right? The former culture minister, Bonnici, actually landed himself in a real lot of water, has actually found breaching the constitution for removing protest signs. It's a totally legitimate form of protest. Just because you don't like what they're saying about you doesn't mean it's incorrect. On to our next story, all about donkey voting in the general election. So Hazebbuch mayor and general election candidate Malcolm Paul Galea has changed his name to Malcolm Paul Ajus Galea, taking on his wife's surname and conveniently landing himself right towards the top of the general election ballot. Now he, contacted by Lovin Malta, said this was a purely personal issue, but I don't know about you. For me, it just reeks a bit of a donkey voting scenario. This isn't the first time it's happened in Malta. Alex Ajus Saliba, funny link over there, an MEP, had actually admitted to taking his wife's surname to benefit from donkey voting, sort of saying, you know, listen, you've got to do what you've got to do to get ahead. Now, the PN in the past has proposed a change to it. It's called the Robson rotation system, where basically the ballot sheet is changed, it's randomized from voter to voter to create a bit of a fair system. Now listen, I know donkey voting out there might seem a little bit childish for everyone, right? And I know a lot of people would think, listen, you should be getting in on merit, and really you're saying where you're positioned on the list shouldn't really matter. However, in Malta's highly competitive district system, where it's a confusing mishmash of numbers, places to go, you know, particularly in the Zebbuj district as well, which is a really tough district to get elected on, people are going to do anything to get ahead, even give out oranges, you know, as we've been seeing in other news. I think all this just solely to prove that Malta needs to tweak its election system just a bit. In recent weeks, Repubblica and the Speaker have actually called for urgent changes, and I think once the general election is over, whoever wins the election, I think it really needs to become a priority.
Yeah, no, I mean, whatever we think and whatever our opinions are, having kind of your MPs, the MPs elected skewed towards kind of what their surname is, doesn't make sense for anyone. So yes, ideally we find a better system for doing this. On to our final story. The Malta Football Association has said that all sponsors are acceptable as long as they are legal, in light of a recent controversy which was started by Portugal star Cristiano Ronaldo. Earlier this week, Ronaldo moved 2 bottles of Coca-Cola that had been strategically placed in front of him for a press conference. The move was widely reported in the news and is also understood to have knocked off quite a bit of value from Coca-Cola's stock price. The move was also copied by a number of other players and has since kind of become a bit of a trend at the Euros. Speaking about the Maltese context, though, the MFA emphasized that there were many considerations to be made before deciding to cut ties with a sponsor. They said that while Ronaldo's actions had quite an impact internationally, the local context was slightly different, and with the local game already lacking funds, cutting potential sponsors could prove to be quite costly for the sport. At the end of the day, the MFA said that as long as brands and sponsorships were legal, that the MFA would continue to accept them.
Yes, I mean, we really do live in a capitalist society, right? When moving a sponsor is like considered practically a revolutionary act. Look, I just find it, there are a bit 2 points to this, right? I mean, the MFA is completely right and whatever, and I really can't understand all these people deifying these footballers for taking away their sponsors from one end, but then on the other side, taking every sponsorship they ever can. I mean, players like Ronaldo, Pogba, all these players make their money from sponsorships, not actually from their footballing contracts, which is a crazy amount of money already, you know, so let's just, you know, calm down a bit, you know, it's just moving a Coke bottle, you know, and he said to drink water. Let's all calm down for that. That's it for us for now, but when we come back, we've got an interview with Dursa Mama Kadu. He's from Spark 15. It's an NGO with a youth focus on the refugee issue in Malta. And always remember to check out Lovin Daily. That's our daily newsletter. You can sign up for it online, and it will basically give you a daily rundown of all our top stories.
Għala dort, wara da snin kollha dort.
Mhux dort.
Ma
Wara
dortx.
sitt
Kont mal-PL u spiċċajt mal-PL.
Mhux dort. Wara il-Moviment Laburista llum ma nixtieqx insejħlu Partit Laburista, għadux il-Partit Laburista għamlu minn kollox biex jissieħbu viċin il-Partit Laburista biex jinqdew huma u ta' madwaru.
Taħseb li n-nazzjonalisti se jafdawk lilek?
Jiena nemmen ukoll li ħajkun hemm Laburisti li jivvotaw li.
Tixtieq żgur, imma taħseb li Dr. Bernardek jista' jkun il-Prim Ministru ta' Malta?
Wara 18-il sena mal-Partit Laburista, Charles Azzopardi jikkontesta l-elezzjoni li ġejja mal-Partit Nazzjonalista. X'ġara? Għaliex? Tkunu tafu dal-waqt fuq Xarabank u fuq Lovin Malta.
So welcome back. We're here with Dursa from Spark 15, who's going to be speaking to us a bit about the NGO and kind of what it's like to live in Malta. As some of you may know, Sunday is World Refugee Day, and this is kind of being done within that context. So first of all, thank you for being here with us. So to start off, I don't know, tell me a bit about yourself, your story so far.
Well, thank you very much for having us in this live daily. So I want to say thank you all the members, and my name is Dursa.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah. My name is Dursa Mama. I am originally from Ethiopia.
Okay.
I've been living in Malta for the last 8 years,
Okay.
and I've been working, studying, and also supporting the organization.
Okay.
So just helping the other migrant community.
Okay. So as we said, Sunday is World Refugee Day. Let's start off with sort of how do you define what a refugee is, and why is it important to mark this day?
I mean, this week is very important, especially Sunday is a Worldwide Refugee Day, which is the day designated by United Nations, which is honored to give respect, encourage, and showing the supporting the worldwide refugee.
Okay.
Which is being refugees is a very tough, which is basically they don't have choice to live where they belong.
Yeah.
So it is important to mark it.
To mark that, yeah. And obviously for people to understand, I guess, because it says, I suppose people might not always appreciate kind of, the story, what one would have been through. You're also part of an NGO, Spark 15.
Yes.
What is it? What does the NGO do? How did it come about?
Well, Spark 15 is run by refugee like me, and I started back in 2015, which is basically we want to for the workshop part of the youth global consultation. We just went for the I think we went to Gozo. Okay. So we went to there for the workshop with others NGOs, and there is quite few young dynamic people there with us. They say, okay, why we don't yes, of course we are working with the NGO, why we don't become an NGO as just refugee? Then the idea is clicked, and we decide from there. We Spark 15. 15 is a year we created. Okay. So from there, I mean, we started being officially recognized, running by refugee and the migrant.
Okay, so and in terms of the activities you do, in terms of the what do you aim to achieve? So what's the
because we do a lot of different activities. The aim just to change, which is basically we work much more closely to the migrant community itself. We do our main area we focus on is school and education, which support with the preparing them how they can study English language, then they go to exams, because most of the young refugee, they don't have certificate when they come over. So in order to enter university or college, they need certificate. So Spark 15 is really working hard to support them and with other NGOs, giving them free lesson English, and they prepare up to they enter university. And beside that, we work in social inclusion, like integration to the communities, doing like football activities, football tournament, getting together.
I suppose that might, I mean, I guess the integration part is maybe the more
Oh,
challenging.
like that's why we say like football tournament is when we do football tournament we received a lot of like 100 people.
Okay.
I think the biggest tournament we did about 350.
Oh, okay.
So that we're really interested because football is just for everyone, and a lot of people in like my Maltese and the other and international community come and participate in the football tournament. We find it really interesting.
So it's a good place.
It's a good place to find a way to into the community,
Yeah.
like integration. That's why. Yeah.
And so, what are, because obviously, as you say, it's not that easy sometimes, you know, to integrate. You might be coming from a different background. What are the main obstacles that you feel people find, and kind of maybe even some of the more positive stories, because we tend to hear a lot about maybe the difficulties, but maybe sometimes we don't hear about the
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
good.
there is. I mean, like because we just about like showing the negative.
Yeah. No,
And
exactly.
but in terms of like through my experience with the organization, I like kind of see a lot of positive behind there, which not the media or whatever it's not seeing. And of course, like there's a lot of young refugee. They manage to get there, although there is like. They are very limited, even they don't even get social benefit from the other with the government or like, but they manage to enter university, they studied, or maybe they find a way to integrate with the community, have a good friendship with the community, more the Maltese people. So they build this really good friendship, and there is a lot of quite positive behind it, but although it is challenge, and there is a long way to go, like to really integrate to the community, feeling welcome.
Where do you think the challenges come from? Is it maybe that people sometimes, until they understand, you know, they might have ideas that you need to speak with someone and then you forget them. Like, what from your experience, how has it worked? What's
I think the main problem is, I think in both sides there is misconception.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not saying putting negative on Maltese
No,
or
but
putting like it's a fact that there is misconception in both communities, and maybe they hear something negative, one word, or like okay they put on other. For example, I have a lot of Maltese friends, which it's really hard for me to like kind of convince them to accept me. It's to take long way, but in times of integration, we have to kind of just open up.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's very challenging that listening someone, the fact just not listening the media, whatever, or someone just hearing negative, rather than just seeing the reality to speak to out. So I think.
And I suppose it tends to happen with lots of people. You know, you have an idea and it takes a long time, but then once you meet a person and you kind of change that idea, then
yeah, definitely. Yes,
like
a lot of that. It is. We have a lot of story. Like the first time we knock the door, like you know, it's really hard to get it enter. Then once we enter, we kind of get to know people, get to know more us, and like seeing that we are positive, and we're seeing them they are positive. We kind of interaction. So the positivity keep going.
Yeah,
so
they open up and
yes. So I'm just like suggesting that need to be for everyone. You know, it's not from my side, not from your side. It's like both community need to be open.
And from your experience so far, I mean, in terms of the local community, because as you say, okay, it takes both sides, but what can be done to help the refugee community more? I mean, what can locals do, and how if there were one area where you'd say, you know, this would be better if it could change, or
for the Maltese community. I mean, like that's first of all, is acceptance is very important, and supporting, and also open up for like giving the opportunity, get to know much better. And the other side, like there is a lot of young people who need support, which is whether financially, emotionally, like a lot of young people, they come by themselves. So there is a lot of challenge facing them beside new language, new country, new people, like a lot of. So it's really important to like acceptance, feeling them welcome. And beside the media, you know, we don't just think with the media saying that's it. No, we have to like kind of really see them feeling, because once the door is open, it's very easy to.
You have to understand that like, everyone has, has a story,
the fact,
trying
the for example, no one have choice to be a refugee.
No, exactly.
They have to, because maybe the people think that a lot of migrants come over taking our place and stuff. But the fact is, maybe the people who moved here, they don't have choice. Yeah. They've gone through a lot of terrible time. So,
for example, do you find that sort of people change when they hear your story, or kind of when someone with a prejudice, if they kind of understand the story? Do you feel that it does bring about a change in their outlook?
I think I'm hoping, I see positivity back in 2015-16 when I started journey, and it wasn't easy time, but over time things improved. But only it's not enough. But if you keep doing and being open up and keep pushing, for sure there is a change. So,
in fact, I was going to ask, with your experience with the NGO, do you feel that you have made progress, that things have changed?
We're quite working on, honestly. Like we did a lot of activities, and we see from the activity we've done, and there is a lot of positive, and the people get to know. Okay, then there is a positive. There is a way we are doing that kind of make the both community interaction. So it is a lot improved.
So I guess it's also quite important to have NGOs working in this. As
a migrant.
Yes, I mean because it's a point of contact, I guess. If you're in the country, you're lost.
That's really important, because having the community, because we are the main key to access to the community, because we know exactly the challenge they're facing, and also we're trying to kind of understand the other community, what they really expect from us, so we can, we have to do this in order to get them our attention. So it's kind of both way flexible, but having us as an NGO leading by refugees is very important, because I guess we really understand the challenge of the community, and we know exactly what they want in order to change also what kind of action we can do.
And I guess it's also a message to people who have just arrived, that it is possible, even though it seems very tough, it is possible to understand.
Yes, definitely.
How this country works,
And for example, we sometimes we received a lot of amazing comment, say, okay, we've done this and we've gone this, we supported. I'm not saying this only is Spark 15 organization, other NGOs as well, they've been working hard to kind of bring the change. And they're saying, okay, we are just refugees, like you, I'm not different, I'm just beside my life supporting the organization to do something change. They say, okay, this is amazing. And the young, I haven't get that opportunity, but there is young people coming over, they are getting much more opportunity, get to know easily, going to find a way to access to education and find a way to access to the community. So there is a lot of.
Unfortunately, it's very slow, but it is slow. But it happens. It is.
Yeah, because there is we don't get a lot of support and with the finance, emotion, a lot of issue going on, but we kind of slowly moving forward.
And is support for the NGO? Did you find it difficult to get, I guess, financial support? The NGO, is it how? Do you require a lot of work, or is it just mainly just helping people on the ground and just offering your time?
We do for example, the Spark 15 mainly support with the English lesson, which is English lesson is need a lot of requiring a lot of time, support, finance, emotion, because we have to give the lesson. We supported the equipment for the schools. We have quite a number of students into university, and they are doing the degree and masters and at the university, and they quite few numbers of students also they get a scholarship going abroad to study. So there is a lot of positivity what we've done. That's why we are happy continue doing what we are doing, and we need some sort of finance support and also other support, which is because we're not the organization 100% is a volunteer. Yeah, exactly. But in order to help the young people, we need a kind of buying some stuff for what they need to be going to school, maybe for accommodation, maybe books, maybe laptop, whatever, all the technology they needed, we supported them. So we need really.
I don't know, are there any initiatives you're currently working on, maybe planned for the near future?
Yeah, we just, in fact, we just started football campaign, which was it is a very big project for us. We're trying to launch eventually very soon in the future. And there is another organized on the project small in the timeline. We are doing also since the COVID is starting kind of dropping, so we are willing to do football tournament, and that's why we kind of want to meet a lot of young people in both community so
hopefully we'll get a chance to hear about it soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe we can come and play some football.
Yeah.
I don't know, your final message to viewers kind of on World Refugee Week and kind of...
Well, I just want to say everyone have I'm in refugee side, but also you have to kind of put a mark in. This is the very important week, and especially Sundays, the day United Nations mark it as give respect, support, and I said before, and also understanding what the word refugee and how you define it. That's very important. Besides that, I want to say thank you all, the other migrant, other community or NGOs, and also the individual people who supported us. There is a lot of individual who supported. I can't really call them So, and there's other community, of course, from the community himself, the Maltese community, they supported migrant. I want to thank them. And also, my message maybe a lot of young people who want to kind of do different activities, and maybe we can interact. You can do two things when they come together. They make things much better. So it's good if they can contact us. And also there's another organization they doing. RAI organization is based in UK, and we are have a good friendship this year. We built it. In fact, they are helped since the COVID started, because our activity lesson shifted online, so they supported us very well and delivering the lesson online. And maybe they're doing festival in October. They look in the people who want to volunteer in.
So maybe
in this organization, in this festival, because people who dancing and music, so these people maybe they can just contact us. We can introduce to them. So
let's hope so.
Yeah.
Thank you very, very much for being with us, for accepting our invitation. That's it from us, and have a day full of loving.
It is much a pleasure for us, and thank you for having us again, and we'll see you around maybe.
Hopefully,
yeah. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Yes.